When you have a new dream or a bold goal, it feels exciting, full of possibility. It's that rush of adrenaline when you imagine your future, the confidence that this time you're going to make it happen. But what most people don't realize is that dreams in the beginning are fragile. They are delicate, like a tiny flame flickering in the wind. If you expose them too soon to the wrong environment, they can be extinguished before they even have a chance to grow. You must protect that flame, nurture it, and give it the right conditions to thrive. The moment you share your dreams with someone, you invite their energy into your space. If that person is supportive, great, but what if they're skeptical? What if they respond with doubt, negativity, or indifference? Suddenly, that excitement you felt starts to waver. Their words plant seeds of hesitation in your mind, and instead of moving forward with confidence, you begin second-guessing yourself. Maybe they're right. Maybe it is too risky. Maybe you should wait. And just like that, the momentum you had starts to fade before you've even taken your first step. People don't always mean to discourage you, but they do. Most of the time, it's not because they don't want you to succeed. It's because they see the world through their own limitations. They judge your dreams based on what they believe is possible for themselves. If they've never taken a risk, they'll tell you to play it safe. If they've failed before, they'll warn you about all the ways things could go wrong. They project their fears onto you, and if you're not careful, you'll start carrying their fears as if they were your own. This is why protecting your dreams is so important, especially in the early stages. You need to create a safe space where your ideas can grow without interference. Imagine a gardener planting seeds. Do they leave them out in the open, vulnerable to harsh weather and animals that might destroy them? No. They plant them in fertile soil, water them, and keep them shielded until they are strong enough to withstand the elements. Your dreams need the same kind of protection. Give them time to develop before exposing them to outside opinions. One of the biggest mistakes people make is looking for validation too soon. You don't need approval from others to pursue your goals. The only validation that matters is the progress you make through consistent action. Every step you take, every small win is proof that your dream is possible. But if you keep seeking reassurance from people who don't share your vision, you risk losing sight of why you started in the first place. Validation should come from your results, not from someone else's opinion of what you might be able to do. Another reason to keep your plans to yourself is that talking about them can create a false sense of accomplishment. Studies have shown that when you tell people about your goals, your brain releases dopamine, the same feel-good chemical associated with achievement. This means that just by sharing your plans, you get a small dose of satisfaction as if you've already done something even when you haven't. The danger? You might trick yourself into feeling progress when in reality, nothing has changed. Instead of talking about what you're going to do, focus on actually doing it. There's also a strategic advantage in keeping things private. When no one knows what you're working on, you don't have to deal with external pressure or expectations. You can make mistakes without judgment, pivot without explaining yourself, and move at your own pace. Think about the most successful people. You often don't hear about their ideas until they're already in motion. That's because they understand the power of quiet progress. They build in silence and let their success do the talking. That's the mindset you need to adopt if you want to make real progress. Protecting your dreams doesn't mean you can't ever share them. It means being selective about who you share them with and when. Find people who uplift you, who inspire you, and who challenge you in a way that fuels your growth. But until your dream is strong enough to stand on its own, guard it like your most valuable possession. Not everyone deserves access to your vision. Your dream is yours for a reason. So as you move forward in 2025, remember this: your dreams are fragile in the beginning. Give them time to grow. Focus on action instead of approval. Keep your energy protected and let your results speak for themselves. When the time is right, the world will see what you've been building. Until then, keep moving, keep working, and keep believing in yourself. Your future self will thank you. Not everyone will understand your vision, and that's perfectly okay. Your dreams are unique to you, shaped by your experiences, ambitions, and desires. When you share them with others, you're asking them to see something that only exists in your mind. The problem is most people can't see beyond their own reality. They interpret your goals through the lens of their own experiences, limitations, and beliefs. If they've never taken a similar path, they'll struggle to comprehend why you would. If they've failed before, they'll assume you will too. And if they've settled in life, they won't understand why you refuse to. People naturally project their fears onto others. When someone tells you that your dream is too big, too risky, or too unrealistic, they're not talking about you. They're talking about themselves. They're revealing their own doubts, their own insecurities, and their own fears of failure. It has nothing to do with what you're actually capable of. But if you're not careful, you might start internalizing their words, allowing their fears to become your own. You might start questioning whether you're really cut out for this, whether you really have what it takes. And once that doubt creeps in, it can be difficult to shake. This is why it's crucial to be selective about who you share your goals with. Not everyone is equipped to support you. Some people, even those closest to you, might unintentionally hold you back simply because they don't understand your path. They might offer advice that seems logical, but is actually based on their own fears. They might try to protect you from disappointment by encouraging you to play it safe. While their intentions may not be harmful, their words can be, because the moment you let someone else's doubt seep into your mind, it can stall your momentum before you even get started. You have to remember that your vision doesn't need validation. It doesn't need to make sense to anyone else because it's not their dream. It's yours. Some of the most successful people in the world were once doubted, dismissed, and even laughed at. Imagine if they had listened to the people who didn't understand their vision. Imagine if they had let someone else's lack of belief dictate their actions. The world would be missing out on incredible innovations, businesses, and movements. Your dreams hold that same potential. The only difference between those who succeed and those who don't is the ability to keep going despite the doubt. Another thing to consider is that some people might actively discourage you, not out of fear, but out of insecurity. Seeing you chase your dreams reminds them of the dreams they gave up on. Your ambition makes them uncomfortable because it forces them to reflect on their own choices. Instead of supporting you, they might downplay your goals, make sarcastic comments, or act indifferent. It's not because your dreams aren't valid, it's because your determination highlights their lack of action. It's easier for them to pull you down than to rise up themselves, but that's not your burden to carry. Instead of seeking approval, focus on taking action. The more you prove to yourself that you're capable, the less you'll feel the need to convince others. Let your results do the talking. When you succeed, the same people who doubted you will be the first to ask how you did it. They'll suddenly understand your vision, not because you explain it better, but because they can see it in reality. But by that time, their validation won't matter to you because you'll have already learned the most important lesson. Belief starts with you, not them. Protecting your vision isn't about shutting people out completely. It's about being mindful of where you seek support. Find those who truly believe in you, who push you forward instead of holding you back. Surround yourself with people who inspire you, who challenge you in ways that help you grow. And most importantly, learn to trust yourself. You don't need permission to go after what you want. You don't need everyone to understand. The only thing you need is the courage to take the first step and the discipline to keep moving forward. So as you step into 2025, make a promise to yourself. Stop looking for validation. Stop waiting for people to believe in you. Instead, believe in yourself so fiercely that no doubt, no fear, and no outside opinion can shake you. Your vision is yours for a reason. Hold onto it, nurture it. And when the time is right, let your success be the proof that you never needed their approval in the first place. Talking about your goals might feel productive, but in reality, it doesn't move you any closer to achieving them. The moment you start announcing your plans, you create an illusion of progress. Your brain releases dopamine, the same chemical associated with achievement, just from speaking about your intentions. This tricks you into feeling like you've already accomplished something, when in reality, nothing has changed. You feel satisfied without taking action. And that's dangerous, because the more you talk, the less urgency you feel to actually do the work. Action, not words, is what brings real results. Think about how many times you've heard someone say they're going to start a business, write a book, get in shape, or change their life. Months later, nothing has happened. Why? Because they got caught in the trap of talking instead of doing. They spent so much time discussing their plans that they lost momentum before they even started. And the truth is, no one remembers what you said you were going to do. They only remember what you actually did. If you want to make an impact, stop announcing your moves and start making them. Another problem with talking too much about your goals is that it opens the door to unnecessary opinions. The moment you share your plans, you invite feedback, and not all of it will be helpful. Some people will doubt you, some will criticize you, others will question your ability. Even those who mean well might unintentionally discourage you by asking, "Are you sure that's realistic?" And suddenly, instead of focusing on execution, you're caught up in defending your vision. Instead of taking the next step, you're explaining yourself. But you don't owe anyone an explanation. Your results will speak for themselves. The most successful people operate in silence. They don't waste time proving themselves to others. They don't feel the need to broadcast their every move. They understand that success comes from consistent effort, not external validation. While everyone else is talking about what they plan to do, they're quietly putting in the work. And then one day, they show up with results that no one saw coming. That's the power of action. It doesn't need an announcement. It doesn't need approval. It simply speaks for itself, and that's what you should aim for. Another reason to focus on action instead of words is that execution builds confidence. When you take small steps every day, you start seeing real progress. That progress fuels your belief in yourself. It creates momentum. And once you see results, no matter how small, it becomes easier to keep going. On the other hand, if you spend all your time talking instead of doing, you never get to experience that growth. You stay stuck in the cycle of planning, dreaming, and discussing without ever taking real action. And that's why so many people remain in the same place year after year. Action also creates opportunities that talking never will when you move forward, even if it's imperfectly. You put yourself in a position to learn, adapt, and grow. You meet the right people, you gain experience, you start understanding what works and what doesn't. But none of that happens if you're stuck in a cycle of talking and overthinking. The only way to know if your idea will succeed is to test it. The only way to improve is through experience. And the only way to experience growth is to take that first step without waiting for the perfect moment. One of the biggest misconceptions about success is that you need permission to pursue your goals. You don't. You don't need validation. You don't need approval. You don't need everyone to believe in you. What you need is discipline. What you need is the ability to keep going even when no one is watching. Because the truth is, most people won't pay attention in the beginning. No one will clap for you when you're starting out. But if you stay consistent, if you keep putting in the work, eventually your results will be undeniable. And by that time, the opinions of others won't even matter. So as you step into 2025, make a decision. Stop talking. Stop over-explaining. Stop waiting for the right time. Take action. Let your work speak louder than your words, because in the end, success doesn't come from what you say you're going to do. It comes from what you actually do. Your energy is one of your most valuable resources, and where you direct it determines your success. Every time you share your goals with someone, you're not just giving them information, you're giving them access to your energy. If they're supportive and encouraging, that's great. But if they respond with doubt, skepticism, or negativity, they drain you. Instead of focusing on your progress, you start explaining, justifying, or even questioning yourself. And that mental distraction slows you down. Protecting your dreams means protecting your energy. It means being intentional about who and what you allow into your mental space. Focus is another key ingredient in making your dreams a reality. Distractions are everywhere, and one of the biggest distractions is seeking approval. When you constantly talk about your goals, you waste time trying to convince others of your vision instead of taking action. Your focus shifts from the work itself to how people perceive it. You start worrying about whether they believe in you, whether they think you're capable, whether they approve of your path. But the truth is, none of that matters. The only thing that moves you forward is your ability to stay focused on execution. Every day, you have a limited amount of time and mental energy. The more you spend it on things that don't serve your progress, the less you have for what truly matters. Engaging in unnecessary conversations, defending your decisions, or seeking validation drains you. Instead, channel that energy into the actions that bring results. Wake up with a clear purpose. Set your priorities. Cut out distractions. The people who achieve extraordinary things aren't necessarily more talented or lucky. They're simply more disciplined with their focus. They understand that success is built in the hours when no one is watching. One of the most powerful habits you can develop is learning to keep your momentum private. When you're constantly updating people on your progress, you subconsciously start looking for their reactions. If they're impressed, you feel motivated. If they're indifferent or doubtful, you feel discouraged. That external feedback starts influencing your internal drive, making you dependent on other people's opinions to stay motivated. But real success doesn't come from external validation. It comes from internal commitment. When you keep your progress to yourself, you stay in control. You stay grounded in your vision, not in other people's expectations. Doubt and negativity can be contagious. If you surround yourself with people who don't believe in big dreams, their mindset will start influencing yours. You'll start lowering your expectations, settling for less, and thinking smaller. That's why it's so important to protect not just your goals, but your environment. Be mindful of the conversations you engage in. Pay attention to how people make you feel after you talk to them. Do they inspire you or drain you? Do they challenge you to grow, or do they reinforce limitations? The more you guard your mental space, the stronger your belief in yourself will become. Another reason to protect your energy and focus is that not every opportunity is worth your time. When you start taking action on your goals, you'll attract attention. Some people will want to collaborate, others will want advice, some will just want to watch what you're doing out of curiosity. But not all attention is beneficial. If you say yes to every distraction, you spread yourself too thin. Not every opportunity aligns with your vision. Not every opinion deserves your attention. Knowing when to say no is just as important as knowing when to say yes. Choose wisely. At the end of the day, your success depends on how well you protect your time, energy, and focus. It's not about working harder, it's about working smarter. It's about cutting out the noise and staying locked in on what truly matters. When you commit to your path without distraction, you build momentum. And once you have momentum, nothing can stop you. The key is to stay disciplined, stay intentional, and trust the process. Let your results be the proof of your dedication. In 2025, make this the year you stop explaining and start executing. Your future self will thank you.